pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And ask Jeff Kelly if he'd give us a prayer.
Our Heavenly Father, as we come before Thee as a City Council at the beginning of this public meeting, we give thanks unto Thee for the many blessings that Thou hast given us. We're thankful for this country. We're thankful for all the bountiful blessings that we receive at Thy hand. We're thankful for this community, and we pray that a special blessing might be upon the members within it, especially for those members who are sick and afflicted, those who are struggling financially. Bless them that they might be able to have the desires of their heart met, that they might be able to have their burdens lifted. We pray that we might also be mindful of these individuals at this time and be able to reach out to them and help them in this holiday season. We pray that Thou might bless those who are serving in the armed forces overseas, that Thou might bless them and watch over and protect them and their families. They may return home without any harm, if it be Thy will. We pray that Thou might have Thy Spirit poured out upon this body and those who attend herein, that we might be able to discuss things in a civil manner, and we might be able to do the things that are in the best interest of the community as a whole, that we might be able to be servants, remind ourselves that we're servants of the people, and that we act on their behalf in the way that would be in their best interest. Is our prayer this night, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Jeff. All right, Council. If there aren't any questions, I'll receive a motion to approve consent calendar items 1A, B, C. There are no building permits.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve consent items 1A, B, and C.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Then we'll go ahead and approve the consent calendar items 1A, B, and C. Jeff.
Aye.
Blake.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Number 2, continued deliberation to reconsider the preliminary plat for Fox Crossing subdivision. As I've had a lot of time to think about this, and talking with the mayor and with BJ, I think that it would probably be in the best interest of the city to maybe have some kind of work meeting with the Anderson Hicks group to be able to maybe resolve some of the concerns we may have. I know we've received correspondence through email, but I think there are still a lot of the department heads still have concerns, some of them serious, some not so. And I think that it would be good to have a work meeting that we can discuss those things. What does the rest of the council feel we should do?
I think that's a good idea. After all the correspondence and the things that we discussed last time, I feel like that would be beneficial, that we would get together and discuss what really is what these guys have on their plate as far as what they've been talking about, what they told us last time, what we all heard.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Kim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would be involved in the work
So
it's up for the council to decide.
Right.
You could schedule it as a public meeting, an open meeting, but a work meeting, not a hearing, and that would allow just conversation as.
And I think that's been one of the concerns, is that we'd like to have open discussion, I guess, about what the concerns are and everything. Whereas
so it just depends on who you want to attend. So you could have it like if all of you want to attend, it would need to be published as an open meeting.
Right.
If only one of you is going to attend, and maybe again the department heads, the representatives from Anderson Hicks, whoever, that's just something that the parties could schedule directly. The mayor, I don't know, whoever you want to attend. So my only concern is whether or not it would be who's going to attend, and if we need to treat it like an open meeting.
In the interest of the entire council to be there. I think that Blake is over Public Works. He should probably be there.
And the mayor.
I think the mayor
department heads.
And the department heads with the engineer being there. I think the fire chief should be there, invited, and And I don't know if you wanna invite the school board superintendent just for his FYI.
I think we do, just because
Just for
those are
his
some of the
information.
concerns that I'm sure we'd like
Right.
to alleviate.
I mean, but I think the other individuals that are key to be there is the engineer, so that we know exactly what infrastructure is there, so that we can be all on the same page and that everybody knows exactly what's going on. And so I think that needs to, and it doesn't need to be a public meeting.
Right. I agree.
I think it just needs to be
It's a
them
work meeting.
It's a
hashing
work
out
meeting.
or the various issues there so they can resolve those and,
I think conversation would probably be less formal per se and be more
right.
open-minded, I guess.
It's just, it's a development meeting you'd have that I think initially we need to have as part of our subdivision, any kind of subdivision development meeting. We do have that, but we need to have that initially with everyone in the future. I think it's one of those steps we've skipped. We need to do so.
And we've talked about, Dave and I and Justin have talked about that
Right.
in our various meetings with the engineer and with the city, that we need to have those. And then we also worked it into it's part of our developments, right?
Right.
So we get so many meetings and then we start charging extra for those kind of things. So yes, so let's have a meeting.
Okay.
But I think it needs to be before the next council meeting. So
I agree. I think it needs to
Report
be
back.
soon. I know the mayor's out of town, obviously, with Thanksgiving and whatnot, but I think that week of the 7th or 8th, is that the week of
First week of
first week?
first week.
So the week of the 6th, I guess. If we could somehow get and I'd probably leave that meeting as far as up to Sandy, as far as putting that together, because she knows the mayor's schedule, and work it out with Leif and with
Justin.
Anderson Hicks
gotta
group
let Dave know
and
too.
yeah, all the department heads.
And we gotta let Dave
When is the
know.
mayor back?
When does the mayor
When
come?
is the mayor back?
I'm not sure.
Mayor?
Hey, Mayor.
When are you back?
Yeah,
When are you back?
I'll be back, but I have surgery on the 6th. I think that's Monday.
Well, what about next week, the week of the 29th?
No, I don't get back till the 1st. 2nd, I'd have to look. Let me look real quick.
But then he's having surgery on the 6th?
That's not
Yeah,
much
so
time.
I could do it on the 7th, 8th, 9th, you know. And then that's the week before our city council meeting. Our city council meeting's on the 14th.
Right. That would be our next, and we should have it
Apparently it's
before
day
next
surgery.
council meeting.
Okay, so sometime the 7th, 8th, or 9th then?
Yeah. Is that?
Yeah.
Is there a day that works better for you guys?
All three of those.
Are you thinking daytime or evening? That's my biggest question.
Probably daytime if that will work for you guys.
We'll make daytime work. All three of those days should work.
Any
I
three of
think,
those days?
Leif, what do you think about
Justin?
daytime?
I'm just looking to see what's on my calendar.
You
On
have a
the
meeting
8th?
On the
On the
8th?
8th we do. We could do either morning or later afternoon, but we got a
What time is that?
meeting with the regional director on the 8th.
What time do you have that meeting?
I believe it's 11, it's either 11 or 11:30 after work.
Okay,
Tuesdays.
Randy, is there any specific time for you?
I'm probably good everything. I think the 9th, just in the evening, would be the only thing I wouldn't be available for.
And Tuesday day's fine for me, 7th.
So, so do you want to have it in the evening or the afternoon?
What works for everybody?
I'm easy.
flexible.
I'll make, I can make
can
it
do
this
either.
morning. So.
What'd you say, Randy?
I can do either, except for the 9th on the evening.
Okay, should we try to set up for the 7th? Is that the 7th on a Tuesday? Did you
7th
say
is a
the
Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 7th?
Tuesday works
So
for me.
Tuesday
Yes.
at 9 a.m.?
So let's ask Dave.
How about the 8th in the morning of the 8th or the afternoon of
That's
the 8th?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Justin, what time's your meeting Wednesday?
I think it's 11:30, I believe. So if we did something at like 9 o'clock, 8 or 9 o'clock, that gives us a few hours.
Does that work? The 9th?
Do everything.
The 8th.
No, the 8th.
Or the 8th, sorry, the 8th.
8th in the morning. We just
Let's
have
do
to
the
let
8th
Dave
at
know.
9 o'clock.
8th at 9 o'clock?
Okay, 8th at 9 o'clock, and I'll get a hold of Dave.
I'll reach out to Dave, Cindy.
Okay.
Yeah, make
And-
sure Dave can be there.
Here?
Here.
Oh,
Place,
and I need to
place.
I'll call,
Here.
Chad Williams.
I'll check.
Okay.
I don't know if that'll be good for Chad, but let's hope it will be.
For who?
Chad.
see what we can
Wednesday.
work out, so. Do we need
Okay.
to, it's already tabled, do we need to table it again, or what do you think?
Well, when we did table it last time, was it just till this meeting? Because if it is, then there needs to be
Yeah,
further
so we need
action.
another motion.
If it was only
Table
tabled
till-
to
I
this
think it
meeting.
said till the next meeting.
So I'll make a motion that we, table our deliberations and consideration of preliminary plat for Fox Crossing subdivision until after our work meeting,
Till next council
until
meeting.
next, and make it next council meeting.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and table this until our next meeting, which is December 14th. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, all right. Okay, number 3, Rick Hi-Hat, he's not here tonight,
Yeah,
correct?
he had to work, and so I told him I'd go ahead and present for him. Mr. Hi-Hat owns
sound like a
some
pirate.
property
Thank you.
over at the Taylorview apartment area. I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with that. It's on East Center. There's a bunch of apartments in there. Okay, so if you was to drive in, if you turned right onto from East Center into the apartment complex, followed it down and made it L, the very end, which is directly behind the concrete company, there's a vacant lot. I think there's only one vacant lot in there. Originally, it was zoned heavy commercial so they could put storage units in. That was the intention, so people could use it in there if they wanted or whatever. The guy who bought it said that he really can't find anybody that is able to construct storage units for him at this time. He would like to utilize it as multiple family, which is what the rest of the complex is. So he asked that it be rezoned to multifamily housing. He wants to put one fourplex in there. He said he wants to act on it as soon as possible, and he hopes to have it built within a year. The P&Z held their hearing, and they recommended approval of it.
And I saw the signature, all the neighbors signed off on
Yeah,
it.
there was
Okay.
no written testimony or no testimony given at the P&Z. Wait a minute, there was 2 people in favor of it that were residents there.
Oh, all right.
Residents of the
Of the other
complex.
Of the complex, yeah.
Well,
I just
no-
was worried it was a whole nother lot.
There's no use,
No.
there's no use in, we're not gonna allow that property to become
Anything else?
a storage unit because we've concluded in the past that we don't want those kind of
Right,
Units.
developments next to each other, so
right.
this makes more sense than anything else to utilize a lot, so I'm absolutely in favor of it.
Okay, Mayor, did you have a comment?
Yeah, so does he have room for parking? As long as he's got room for parking there.
No, he only needs,
He'll have to have so many parking spaces to meet our code, and so Jordan will be handling that.
well, he has to have.
What was, do we have a plat? Do we have a?
No.
did
No,
bring
he
us
hasn't
any
submitted anything
plans
yet.
or
He just
anything?
wants to see if he can.
He's just
Putting
doing
a
zoning.
four-
We just wanna rezone it.
So if
So-
he's putting in a fourplex, he'll have to have 8 spots.
Well, there should be 8
Super.
spots along the front.
Should be right in the very front, yeah.
Because those lots are big
I
enough.
think it's a good I think it's a good idea. It's just I want to make sure he's got parking too. So, because I know that's a parking is an issue over there.
Is there a fence between that property and Derek?
Oh,
At the end of their deal,
No,
is there a
'cause there's
fence?
a-
Cause they should probably
No.
have to put one up
There
now,
won't be.
cause it'll butt up against.
but it's residential against residential.
So they don't have to do
fence.
it?
They would have if they would have put storage units.
Right.
But there's an emergency access thing there going through there too. But I think Derek's gonna put up something there at the end of the emergency access so people can't make it a through drive to get to his
This place.
access.
We got like a break gate or something, or?
Yeah.
Is that
I
where
know-
he's
I
gonna
know
put-
there's
I
a-
forget the
they
look
can
of
get
the
a
deal.
good
Is that where he's
gate
gonna
over
put
here
his pond at that far end? At this close in? I think he's gonna put his pond on that corner. Oh, so
He's
he's
gonna-
not
he's gonna
rearranging
put-
his to put it so that it works for that breakthrough?
He's just gonna put barricades.
Is it this
along
one
there.
back?
Yeah, that's right. That's what he's gonna
Okay.
do.
His
Yeah.
property
There's
borders
your
the
center,
old
there's
railroad
your
trail.
concrete.
Right.
There.
This is right on the edge of that road.
Right.
This is
I
where
just
the
wondered
park
if
is going.
Derek could, cause doesn't he have 2 or 3 that are gonna be before it gets to that lot? Houses? You don't want an emergency exit running into the back of somebody's yard.
Is that a loop?
We'll have to work that out.
We'll have to work that out with
Is
Jordan
it a
and you
loop for?
and, yeah.
The road?
Oh,
Off of Center, so it comes down in front of the existing buildings.
Right.
And this is the lot we're talking about here,
yes.
right?
Mayor
Yes,
BJ's showing Adam on his phone.
And then I'm just wondering, is this
No,
still,
so this
it's
is
all in
gonna,
and out
this is
way?
emergency access here, which we're going to, I think it's gonna be available, but it's gonna be,
Oh, emergency only.
yeah.
That way.
So
nobody
they would have
goes-
to access it from the current apartments. Yep. And he has an easement to do that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go ahead and accept the motion.
I make a motion that we rezone the property for Mr. Hyatt from heavy commercial to R2.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and approve the rezone for the property for Mr. Rick Hihath. All in favor?
All of us, sorry. We didn't yell.
All right, number 4, consider amendment to Title 10-8-2 with previously approved setbacks and lot sizes. This is just to include the chart, correct?
Yes, so quite some time ago, we made the regulations for residential estate zoning. And there's one, I took a copy of it. This is the chart I keep referring to, Title 8-10-2. 10-8-2, sorry. And it has everything but the RE, and it would just make it easier for people to look if we added the RE to it. P&Z held their public hearing and said yes, that there was nobody or no testimony for that, and recommended approval of it.
So I guess
Make a motion that we approve.
Well, one thing I would need is, do we know what the specifications are that would, to fill, in other words, I'm fine with adding it. I think it's a good idea.
We've already
It's
decided what
in the-
minimum
it's on the-
lot
it's in
size
the very
are,
back.
width, front, and garage, all that stuff.
I thought it was, but we just didn't.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Okay.
behind all this is
Yeah,
what we.
we just never
Yeah.
ever
Okay.
put it in the chart.
Okay.
That's right. It should, yeah.
We've
Okay.
done it all, we just haven't put it in the chart for the ordinances.
All right. I'm good.
You're
Okay.
helping it,
I'll accept the
keep us
motion.
online.
I'll make a motion that we approve amendment to Title 10-8-2 with the setbacks and lot sizes and add the chart only.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and include the chart or correct the chart with RE zone. All in favor?
Aye.
4 in favor.
And then BJ, I'll get you all of that so you can create the ordinance.
Okay, recognition of citizens from the floor. Anybody want to speak? Sweet. All right.
Everybody left.
Everybody's
Hey,
gone.
Your poster's falling down behind you, don't look at it. Go ahead.
All right, new council business, 6A, business licenses for 2021.
Can you tell the list
2022.
behind your memo? There's
2022,
no,
yeah.
there's no specialized, general, or new ones. They're all renewals at $5. There's 23 licenses.
I'll make a motion that we approve all the business licenses as written.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and approve the business licenses as constituted. All in favor? 4 in favor. Okay, consider acquisition of K-9 unit. We have received the contract back from Golden Valley. There was a couple of items that BJ had looked at, and we actually tried to there was one as far as listing them as a second insured from iCrimp. We did contact iCrimp. Actually, according to state law, we cannot allow that.
Oh, okay.
So we'll need to go back to Golden Valley and tell them that we can't do that as far as the contract is concerned, and we'll have to figure it out. Hopefully they'll be okay
They
with that.
wanted
Move
to
on.
be the second insurer on the dog.
They wanted to
So
be
it had double
additional
insurance?
insured,
No.
just an additional insured, right?
Yeah. All it is
Yes.
is that if anything happens, they're covered too, kind of a thing. And it sounds like though that
They would probably have to somehow do that through theirs because iCrimp said it was against Idaho Constitution because it would be like the city would be extending credit
Yeah.
to an individual or private entity, and we can't do that.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me. In private, commerce, that's very common, but there are unique rules that apply to government entities,
Yeah.
and so that doesn't surprise me.
And she said she would be happy to, if we wanted to send the contract, she'd be happy to review it too. And
Wouldn't hurt if she wants to.
I'm sure we'd be okay. That's
Okay.
up to you guys.
So did you get a hold of Brandon?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where. So we'll go ahead and we'll get back with Golden Valley and just let them know, and hopefully we can move forward on that. And then as soon as we get that resolved, we'll get the contract out to everybody in council.
The one thing that I just want to make sure that council is clear with is they've got a schedule in here of fees that Golden Valley is prepared to pay. Some of it's a upfront one-time fee, and then there's ongoing annual fees. One of the changes that they made is language that kind of limits more their liability. I had it basically that was an estimate, and that they would just be responsible for whatever it was. That was one place where they pushed back a little bit, and they changed and they added this language that said that they'll be responsible to pay all the expenses based on the fee schedule in section 2. So they're trying to narrow it down a little bit more to that. So just one thing that we need to.
That fee schedule may be great right now, but next year it could triple. And if it does, then they're basically saying we're stuck.
So it's a fee schedule that's talking about
Like
what they're gonna pay for the
yes,
animal.
the dog
right?
and the
What they're willing
training.
to spend.
Additional training, equipment, anything that has to do with the
Yeah.
dog, right?
Jeff, will you come look at this and see if we need to do anything? It's saying something weird.
The one thing so that I'd point out, I shared the chief's concern when he said, hey, we don't know what's going to be, and if it's going to be more than what's listed on the table, it's not super clear, but there's at least an argument that the city would be responsible for that. So we can either clean up that language to whatever we want, or the other thing to keep in mind is if it is the case that the costs go up, they did also add, and this goes both ways, that either party can terminate the agreement with 1-year notice. So that's some leverage that both sides actually have to say, you know what, if you're not going to, work with us and pay what it's going to cost to keep this thing, then we'll just terminate it, and we'll be responsible for all the costs, and you don't get any of the, the sponsorship benefits from the animal. So I don't know. It's whatever you want to do. There's no right or wrong. It's just whatever you want to do. But that was one thing that I flagged as wanting to make sure that everybody was aware, because it could if it ends up costing more, that's probably going to be coming back on the city.
So how long ago did we get these numbers?
It's been a while.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could just double check them and
We could
see how close.
It could have changed. Should have changed already.
Right.
We don't know.
Well,
yeah, we can double check them.
I can see it from their point of view, because obviously they want to know what they're committing to.
Yeah, they don't want a blank check.
Right. They
I
don't
get
want to get
that.
blank check. So I get that. Same time, I just want to make sure again we're covered, just because we don't know what the unknown is, and it looks like their expectation is they're really only going to pay this. So.
But, well, a quick comment, even if they only pay what's in the agreement, we're getting the dog, we're getting the equipment, we're getting the training.
Yeah.
So even if the city has to pick up part of it after the first year or 2 years,
yeah,
it's still a pretty good deal for the city.
Yeah, because they're still
they're
going to
and they're excited.
Yeah, they're going to contribute at least that much. That's exactly right, man.
Yeah, and who's to say they might not just still kick in a little bit if it's just a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I mean, could it be double or triple? Yeah, it's possible. But even then, I guess they would still be paying their share, and it would, because even if we terminate it, then we're on the hook for 100% of it, and that's even worse. So.
I'm all for them helping us and the program. I always have been.
Right.
I just want to make sure that everyone is covered, and the city is safe and secure. They're taken care of, and then that way there's no strings attached, so we can move forward.
Okay.
4 years.
All right, we'll check into that, and then we'll get with Golden Valley on the insurance.
Council members get free camera treatment?
Yeah, do we get treated?
Sure. Let's write it into the contract.
I just want pictures with everyone in front of visit. They're excited about it. They think it's a great thing. They want to partner up.
No, I do too. I think
We'll make sure the brand shows on the front of the things that are sitting on the table here.
Like NASCARs.
All right, I don't think we need a motion or anything, because we
not to adopt it. A little direction is fine. So, do you want to send the agreement to ICRIM?
Do you want me to? I mean,
I'm not opposed to it. I don't know that it's really necessary, but it might help. I don't really know.
No, I think that's a good idea.
We
I'll
can.
make
I
a
just don't want to
motion now.
delay it any more than.
I can send it over. Her name's Sandy Moser.
Okay,
I can send it over and say, hey, I need this back as quick as I can and get it back by like Wednesday.
I feel like this has been dragging on for like 2 years, so we need to just move forward and get Golden Valley to sign off on it too. So.
Well, you could approve it contingent on any proposed changes from ICRIM and removal of the proposed language to add them as an additional insured. You could approve it tonight. subject to that.
Yeah, cause that's the only really question though, yeah.
Yeah, if everything else looks good to the council, that, like I said, the only thing I flag is that extra cost thing, but I don't see that as being a deal breaker.
I don't either.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we go ahead with the agreement with the exception of what the attorneys just said.
The language.
Any language
Review
inside
for
the
my
agreement.
Review for Mike.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and second that we go ahead and approve the contract for the K-9 with Golden Valley, contingent upon ICRIP looking at it. All in favor?
Okay, on this one where it's a contract, you need to do a roll call vote.
Oh, okay. Jim, Blake,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
Adam, aye.
Okay, you got 4 eyes.
All right. That's a good thing.
I have my roll.
Your reminder
Here.
sheet.
All right,
What do they have to do?
we don't need to talk about C, right?
See.
No, I thought we
Yeah, we do.
I thought we decided that we were gonna have a meeting.
She says, right there.
They told
Consider,
me that we were having the meeting, that we needed to keep that.
On the 28th?
Yeah, that's what they told me.
I'm on vacation that week.
And do you know how long it takes to get
all
to
right,
Chicago?
should we cancel the meeting on the
By
28th?
bus?
I'll make a motion that we cancel the meeting for December 28th
I'll
to
second
make
it.
Sandy happy.
All right,
second
it's
it.
been moved and seconded. We go ahead and cancel the meeting for December 28th. All in favor? Okay, consider removal of four-way stop at the intersection of Hummingbird and Bluebird. Mayor, is this one yours?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes. So as I was out getting signatures, I spent a lot of time in there, and I had probably 4 different people ask me about why there was a stop sign on Hummingbird, and there was a 4-way stop with Hummingbird and Bluebird. And then if you go to the other side, there's only a stop sign on Bluebird and not on Flamingo or whatever it is. But there is a dip on Flamingo. So, Justin, did you have time to go out and take a look at that and tell me what you think?
Yeah, I went and looked at it. Yeah, I should why he's asking me, but I personally think we ought to leave the stop signs there. The little bit I spent over there and stuff, you know, the only other 2 stop signs are on Hanson and Hummingbird and North Park in Hummingbird. So if we remove them stop signs, it's just
Straight
I
through
think
shot.
racetrack.
Straight through shot through the
It's
neighborhood.
just a straight through shot. I think on Meadowlark we have that double gutter, so it naturally slows people down because of the dip. And also Meadowlark isn't as long as a street as Hummingbird.
Right.
It hits into Flamingo right there, goes around the block and catches Hummingbird. So I guess my opinion would be to leave the stop signs where they're at.
Chief, what do you think?
Shall I speak on garbage cans then?
Yeah, or snow removal. Which one would take?
Snow removal. Yeah, I think we should certainly leave it. I can't tell you how many complaints I get of speeding in there as it is. Even if I can't put someone there all the time, hopefully there's a decent person 1 out of 10 and they're actually paying attention to it. I think it would make it worse if we pull the stop signs down. I'm all for putting one up at Meadowlark and Hummingbird. Meadowlark and
Flamingo.
Bluebird too. Whatever we could do to help slow the traffic down in that area, I'm all for it. Because I know the citizens over there are just beside themselves with the speeders. And I can only do so much. I put a marked unit over there. You can't hide. They drive better than they ever have in their lives. Every single time I park a patrol car there. And as soon as we leave,
That's because they text all their friends the minute the car shows up, and when the car's gone, they text their friends again.
Have you ever been late to church?
Yeah, but the Lord forgive me.
On a really wide street though.
Yeah.
That's his deal.
It is an issue, but the Lord forgives me.
Did you hear that,
Be the
Mayor?
fines.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah.
So that is my opinion. I don't think we have enough. So my opinion is keep it.
What do you think, council?
How many people talk to you, Mayor? If you were to give me a number.
There was 4 different people, but I'm not saying we need to take it out or not. I'm
Right.
just saying,
So
I told him I
I'm just
would
sitting there
not
counting the number of homes,
talk about
even if mayor visited just 2 blocks. He only got 4 out of that 2 blocks.
How many people is gonna complain when we take it down? Cause it's speeding.
I think
More
you
than
leave
4.
it. I think you leave
Yeah,
it.
we're gonna leave it.
I think, I make a motion that we leave it.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and leave the four-way stop at the intersection of Bluebird and Hummingbird. All in favor? All right, next on the agenda, street light at North Park Avenue. Justin?
Yeah, so I reached out to Rocky Mountain Power. I was hoping to meet today with them, but we didn't get it done, so hopefully tomorrow. There is a pole on that corner. We just don't know if we have the clearance to put a light on that pole because of the wires and transformers and stuff like that. So
Which corner are we at?
it's on Parkview and North Park. Derek got, the subdivision Derek put in right on that corner.
Oh,
Going
okay.
back in there when you come out on that intersection. It is dark. I went over there the other night and it is a dark area. So.
But it's still in
Little-
question of
little
whether we can.
interference.
Yeah, we don't know if we can or can't yet. So I'll work with Rocky Mountain Power and hopefully have an answer by next council meeting on that. So.
Did we get the lights replaced on Main Street that Ruben was,
Yeah. They were out.
we had 2 of them right in
2
front
of
of the
them
store.
right in front of his place.
Hey, on Main Street, do we take care of those lights ourselves? Okay, cause I've got a whole, 12 of them that somebody turned into me that all
I was
sent to
gonna say
Rocky
the
Mountain.
Gregory gal she called me yesterday.
She brought me the list today, so.
Okay, I told her to go out and get a list of the tag numbers and stuff, and Sandy was her gal to get them turned into Rocky Mountain Power. So,
Yeah, I'll try to get that done tomorrow.
that half of State Street belongs to Rocky Mountain Power.
Oh, it does.
Center Street down to Subway belongs to the city of Shelley.
I hate those lights.
I know. But we'll work on that. But we gotta get light bulbs on the ones.
So we don't need a motion.
Because that brings up
You
the
could
fact
table to put it on
with
the meeting.
these.
You could move to put
It's
it on.
better
the
to have light than no light.
All right.
agenda next.
So I need a
Put it on.
motion that we go ahead and table that till next meeting, until Justin comes out.
Yeah. But I'll make a motion that we table 6E until Justin gets us all the information from Rocky Mountain Power.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and table the street light on North Park until next meeting. All in favor?
All right.
Okay, consider sale of public property to assist landlocked property owner. Sandy?
Yeah, so I talked to this Mr. Rogoli and, let him know that if we did it, we would have to establish a fair market value and then I'd have to go out to bid. It could be a sealed bid or whichever. I suggested to him that and I think it was Jeff and I that talked about it, that he reach out to the Cedar Apartments and maybe they would let him use a strip to get in and out through their property. He would have to get a variance to do that because for our ordinance says that you have to have, you have to have access on your own property to public street. However, because of it being a park and he's landlocked, it may be better for him to go the other route. And I called and talked to him and told him that, so he was gonna check with the Cedars and I haven't heard back yet.
Yeah,
And
I just-
the issue is the fact that if we put it out to bid,
he may
it might not be the bid,
Right.
right? Somebody else might buy that strip.
Yeah, but who else would
Yeah.
want it?
I can think of someone.
I can too. Yeah.
Oh, that's the second person I
It's
thought
a
of.
way to utilize the property more efficiently, but it falls directly within the definition of the variance according to the law.
Yeah, I think this would qualify for a variance. It's gotta be something unique due to the conditions of the property itself, and, so yeah.
It does.
So we're just waiting to hear from him.
Right.
On what he finds out, so.
So
And
do we
that's
have to
kind of
do
the way
anything
that
with it?
you guys would prefer to go other than try to
Yes.
cut that out.
Yes.
So do we have to do anything else with that?
No, we just wait to hear from him.
Okay. 6G. Consider pool certification for recreational director. I can't speak tonight. Sandy.
During the budget time, and I didn't have it in all my records because it was kind of brought up when we was, I think, having a work meeting, and I didn't keep very good notes on this, I'm sorry, but, it was brought up about the pool certification, so Michael has to be certified, one person has to be certified, and it's been Michael, to be able to operate the pool. He has to retest every 5 years. A while back, we tried to cover all of the certifications. We added bilingual, we added code enforcement certification. Anyway, he asked me about that, and I was vague in remembering what had happened and I had no notes. So just to clarify it, I mean, you guys, is it okay to add that full certification to our payroll wage schedule?
Yeah, because it's not very much that he can get on certification, so.
Right,
Most
that
of
would
our
be about it.
certifications I think the lowest one has been 50. So like our equipment operator, our weed sprayer, those were
And we have to have somebody certified, and they have,
Right.
and we want to keep them here if they're certified.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I'll make a motion that we will
add pool
add full
certification.
certification for the recreation director.
How much? $50?
50.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and approve the pool certification for the recreational director at $50. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, H, water extension, the well 5 to the First Street. Justin, you have an update for that?
Yeah, so, we finally got a good sample out of that new extension of water line we put on. It came back clean today.
Today.
Oh,
Alright.
We've been working on this for 5 or 6 months. Anyways, it is done.
It's finally approved.
It's finally approved.
Done.
They're supposed to be over in the next day or two to backfill the hole in Winter's property and also the hole in well number 5 and clean up their mess and get out of there.
Okay, good. Good. We don't
So something, do we want to, this has gone on for 4 or 5 months now. Do we want to put something in place so that if we have something like this again, they're penalized after a certain point? Because instead of just fixing the problem, they've just drug it out. And that's not fair to the homeowner.
We probably should put something in the penalize
So,
after so many days.
I'm not saying we make a decision tonight, but I'm saying think about that, because we probably ought to put something in there so there is some kind of recourse.
yeah, yes. Well, and one other part of that, Mayor, is that can apply to future contracts. I don't really know what basis we would have to go in and unilaterally add that to their existing contracts, but definitely
No,
something.
I'm
Yeah, but
not
definitely.
saying
talking
that.
going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
doing
we
something.
we will be digging holes in the ground soon.
Yeah.
Not like we are
right.
now, but we will be doing it soon to get that stuff done. So
If I can add to that, that's also the reason why our engineer's been telling us that if we have an on-site inspector,
that takes
a
care
lot
of
of this stuff would have been caught during the process.
Gotcha.
That's why Dave
And
wants
so that I think if we move forward with that on-site inspector, that's going to help alleviate these issues like this.
Because that's when they would have to pay for it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so if they want to
That's when
quit
there
paying,
would be a time frame and a deadline, and
yeah.
we would have some bite right there.
Right.
Well, and then if
So-
they want to drag it out, they're going to pay for our guy every day,
So
right?
Sandy,
Right.
Do we have that in, or do we have to create an ordinance for that going forward?
Well, the way I've always seen on timing, like for contractors, and I think Justin has too, when they cite that contractor, the scope of work, usually there's a deadline that they have to have it done, and if they don't meet that deadline, then they have to pay penalties.
So what we're talking about is exactly that, but going forward, we were gonna put in there for Forest Run that they offer to have somebody there on site, and this is what it costs to be that person.
So that's what we
Offer
agreed
or
with
required?
with the sewer on Fur,
I
right?
think it was,
Yes.
well, we're gonna make
Is
it
it offered or
required on
required?
that project, but we don't, that's what I'm asking. Do we have it
Oh.
that it's required, or do we make it required, and what does that look like? Do
You
we
need
have
to
to get
have
an
someone
ordinance?
testing it and inspecting it.
Do we have to have an ordinance for that, or is it part of just our process we do?
If it's, yeah, I don't think it needs an ordinance if it's in our contract.
So it's just gonna be
contract.
all
And
the
it-
contracts.
now,
It's in the
to
contract.
set the fee to have him on there, that might require a resolution. That might be set by resolution if we have a fee set for that.
Engineering.
Yeah, for that on-site inspector.
So for instance, like on the upgrade on the sewer line on First Street, they've got till April 15th to have that completed.
Right.
There will be an on-site inspector for that, then if they go over that day, it's so much money per day or whatever that is. So I think what we've done in the past is just looked at each project and you guys have decided yes or no for an on-site inspector or not.
So as we get bids back and what that is, but
And usually when we get the engineering contract for that project,
It'll either include it or
it's
won't.
included in there, but on one,
If it's small like that,
This one was a small project. We had the trail to work on. We had this line to get done. Winters have been more than fair with us these last few years to work towards this, and so we did this one a little bit out of different style than we normally do. It's but I think to move on, to move forward, I think we're all on the same page. We need to have an on-site inspector for issues like this.
did Forest Green design that over there? Was there any design?
Yeah, there
needed?
was a design on there. We got approved to DEQ. It was with Forest.
And that was with Forest Green? Oh, so maybe always included in the scope of the engineering?
And I think we keep in mind, Dave's told us on all these projects, we should have an on-site inspector, and then we kind of make a decision, yeah or no, if we can get by. And like I say, this one was just kind of an oddball one. It was kind of.
I think we should always have one. Every time we try to step over $1 to pick up a dime, we got in trouble. I know I did that when we tried to cross the canal with the water line up there. And we thought we were all smart saving money, and we ended up losing money. You pay for what you get.
Is that the North Loop?
I think we need to have an engineer on all these.
so we just need to put that into our process when we put out the bid or when we get jobs.
Because if
But
things go sideways, which they did with Irwa when they were putting the line in, then there's someone to go back against and sue, which there was in that case, even though the parties that beat didn't do that. We should have, and we need to have that protection for ourselves.
So we'll just put it into when we get a project.
Yeah.
That the scope, we're gonna run that through
I
engineering.
think we learned from this one, right? We just need to move forward and remember this happened, and anything in the future.
And I was just trying to make it so that no matter if it's you here, me, Jeff, any of these guys or anybody else here, that always takes place.
Yeah,
just to cover
these
it.
always takes place.
So whatever mechanism that is. Is it a
Yeah, I
policy?
do too. Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
should just put that in.
Yeah, it's not a policy.
Just be a policy.
Okay.
Always.
Yep.
Not
I
just
agree.
some cases.
Thank you, Justin, for keeping up on that too. Taking care of it for us.
It took so long, but
Well, it wasn't our fault. We told him.
Okay.
No, I don't have to.
Moving on to I.
So this is the adopted resolution for the Shelley Transportation Improvement Plan.
Yes, for capital improvements documents.
Right, attached are the documents for that.
Sorry, I don't have a resolution number. I was gonna look all day
You're gonna
today
try
and
to
I
get
get up
one?
to do it and take another phone call.
So this is for the First Street grant to apply for that, to finish that water.
Okay, so
So
we
do
need
we
to
gotta
make a
read
motion.
that, or do we just make a motion?
So the resolution is the one that needs a motion to be passed, and then all of the documentation behind it is what will be submitted with the grant. The very end is the actual application to LTAT, that I'll have to get signed. Adam will probably have to have, well, either you or Nate are gonna have to sign it since
One of us
the
will
mayor's
sign
not
this
here,
'cause
somebody
Mayor's
who's
not
authorized.
It says either one.
The plan here in the notes, it refers to the bird farm. Is this just our internal notes? So like, we all know what that means.
That's
Well,
that's our capital.
That's our
This
capital.
is what we did. This is what we say needs to be done
Right.
sometime.
Well, that's why you say, so is this just an interim, because if this is something that we're submitting to someone and they need to review it, this part on the next page, in the notes, when it refers to the bird farm, if that goes outside of the city, people aren't gonna know what that is.
Isn't that?
Okay, so let me.
That was my only suggestion, is that.
Cross through the uncut Meadow Park subdivision.
Yeah. Because we know what that means, and so if it's just for internal purposes, fine. But if we're submitting this for consideration as part of a grant application or something, we probably ought to explain what the bird farm means.
Is that on that
In notes?
2022, 23?
Yeah, next page, in the notes, the entire bird farm.
Only in
like,
Shelley.
Shelley has
So
a bird farm?
these are Justin, the bird farm, that's funny. So yeah, we should probably fix the notes to reflect it's that mental condition. Good catch, BJ.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well,
Justin just added his notes in when he did
Sorry,
this,
I
because
knew
this
what
was from
I knew what I
2021.
was
You knew what you were
talking
talking about.
I knew what you were talking about too. I just don't know if maybe some other.
outside of the
Oh,
world.
was that you that
When
did
it
that
goes,
one?
yeah, that's his sheet that he updates every year to tell us where
I
we're going
love
to be
it.
doing the chip sealing and what roads
It's
need
like
to
a
be
5-year
done.
plan, right?
Yeah.
Kind of change it from there.
And he just goes through that template, so I get that.
Okay.
All right, well, we need a motion for the resolution.
Then I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution to be named later.
You do pending or what do you
Yeah.
do? Whatever.
We adopt the resolution pending the number to start the City of Shelley Transportation Improvement Plan updated.
I do have one question though for you, Mitch.
Yes.
On the Aspen, Scrub Coat and Silk Coat, what about that drain that sits there in front of the Orms? Is that gonna have to be rebuilt?
We've got
Dug
two
down?
storm drains we'll have to address when we get that.
Okay, so that's part of that Scrub
Yeah,
Coat.
yeah, we'll make sure them get fixed before we replace that road.
Okay.
Very careful.
I have no, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Well, you know your neighborhood well enough, right?
Did I have a second on that?
That's it.
Okay. Do we need a roll call on that resolution or is it?
No, it's just
Okay.
resolution.
All in favor?
I,
Alright.
All 4 in favor. Okay, Bingham County comments. We've got a few, right?
Yes.
One is Wattenberg, it's 35 lot subdivision east of 800, but north of the Snake River.
Is this another county subdivision?
Yep.
yes.
It
And
is.
it's right on New Sweden Road,
And
across from
Right,
the other one.
right by the
I'm-
sewer line.
I'm gonna put this on the public record that I've spoke to one of the commissioners. They're aware that I'm gonna do this. I've spoke to the fire chief about this. I'm going to put together a letter, and I don't know if you guys wanna do it on behalf of the city. I'll do it on behalf of myself if I have to send around to the farmers, to landowners in the area, where I would like to have a round table with the city officials, with the fire districts, with the school district, where we have a talk about these developments that are occurring in these areas. I don't have a problem with people developing their land, but I have a problem with urban sprawl, and when I call urban sprawl is where we develop in a hodgepodge, haphazard way, where we don't include infrastructure consideration. They go beyond just streets. You take these developments where they have access to sewer, and each one of these homes are going in on acre-sized lots with their own domestic well.
And
you've got
septic tanks.
subdivisions where you don't have CCNRs to control weeds. You get a heavy windstorm, and you've got now homes in close proximity to one another, and a fire starts in a home, you could end up having a major subdivision fire, and there's no place to go get the water, is there, chief?
Just back to the school.
And we've got a 5,000 gallon tank, and if you're fighting a major structure fire with a hose, you're running 1,500 gallons a minute. If you're using smaller hoses, 250 gallons a minute. It's not gonna take long before you're gonna be out of water. We're setting ourselves up for a disaster here if we don't be attentive to some issues of urban development. And so I just think we've gotta have some sensibility here. So I would like to get people to sign on, farmers, large landowners, and have an open meeting with the county officials where we can discuss possible changes to some of this. Like I said, I have no problem with people developing their land, don't get me wrong. But whoever develops is gonna have to develop the roads around them. We can't have 25-foot wide pavement going down the middle of a 60-foot right of way and have a 150 home subdivision with 450 cars at 5 o'clock at night driving in and out of those developments.
Now you consider this subdivision that they're talking about here,
That's just 35
New
houses.
Sweden is gonna become.
It needs to be 4 lanes.
It does.
Right
All
now,
the
It's
way into
because
town.
You have
5 lanes.
you have the Bristol development, now this is
Right.
development, and the Carpenter development.
Right.
you have
Yeah.
the county officials wanting to do smaller lots on the Johnson or whatever property, and that, you know, it's just more cars, more homes, more people.
And they all go to Shelley schools. And
And-
the school superintendent stood there and said, I can't take any more and I can't bond for any more for like 5 more years. So where are we gonna be if these get built in 2?
Well, my biggest concern is just the fact that the infrastructure is not
No, we don't have that.
sufficient.
So-
If you're allowing people individual wells without a community well system, you're avoiding the consideration of fire suppression.
Yeah, that's where the water, wouldn't the water have to come out in the county, it'd have to come from a well, wouldn't it?
Come from a,
That's one of the concerns that I'm having a struggle with. I'm glad that you guys get these same plot plans to make comments to that I do. You know, they seem to bring these out in very small developments. They'll do phase 1, and that's all the county will show. We will ask Tiffany and them down there if they can get us a master
So
plan.
this one says.
They said we don't have to show you, you don't have to do a master plan. They do these phases by phases.
Right.
And so that first phase that was just north of this division that you
Yeah.
guys are talking about was just supposed to be one small phase of
Yeah.
about 30 homes.
Right.
Well, that's turned into 5 phases.
So there's like 130 homes there, right? Or something like that.
Yes,
Well, it
and then the
says-
Carpenter home, which was just to the Carpenter complex that was just to the east of that, was about the same
And
30
it's gonna
homes.
connect through Cedar
You know,
Estates.
now this home is going to be about 35 homes.
Yeah.
But if you'll actually look at the plans, you'll actually see that they've got an egress. My first concern is there's only one entrance into that whole place.
Yeah.
There's not two. There's
Right.
not 2 entrances and exits.
Right.
But they're showing one on the east side of that. Could
I see
possibly
that
be
there's a
that,
stub street there.
But it doesn't connect to anything right now.
Well,
Right
it says
now.
that it says in the little deal here, the description, and secondary access is proposed to connect to Cedar Estates subdivision, division authority with culinary water provided at private wells. But they are going to connect to Durwa. But you are correct in the fact that how in the world are we going to service if we have issues?
But they keep putting these in just small
Yeah.
developments at a time, so that they're just under the allotted homes of not having to put a fire well in. But when you add it
What
all
is it? What
together,
is that number?
it's whatever we decide to come up with. I guess what we have to maybe do is just
Go
drop
down to
the-
20 or something.
Yeah, just to drop the
Well,
thing
because
down
I'm
to
looking at the
20.
very
What is the
next
county?
one, and it's over 200 acres
Yeah.
that they're proposing.
Exactly. So my same comments that I keep putting into all of these posts, I think that you guys have the same concerns.
Oh, no, you're right.
Our roads to get there and our accesses, are they gonna be able to get increased and be able to do outside?
And who's paying for that?
And can we get some water out there? Now, the one out there is gonna be a little bit different, I think. Are they gonna be able to hook onto?
No, because it's got to go across the
No.
river.
well, they'll be able to hook on the sewer, but they still,
No.
And then
What
it's-
out
The
here?
Cyril one?
Brian.
No.
oh, the serial will
Brian,
not.
no, because you can't come across the river.
No, so he'll have to have those large, he'll have to have larger lots.
Right.
But once again, we've seen where we have these larger lots,
Does he say in here how big
and
their
we
lots are?
have,
No, he
we
doesn't
don't
have a
have
plan
the
to go with it.
sufficient
He just says he wants to
homeowners
he just
association
rezones
for
it
CCNRs.
from A to R.
We're having a lot of these lots
That
not
way
being
you can
developed
build on it.
completely in grass. So we have these weeds which add
About
an
this.
additional fire threat in an event that you have a
Wasn't
fire,
planning
and
this
I
issue.
just, and once again, we don't have a fire well. I mean, the fire well out there is the high school in Shelley. You start a structure fire and you're gonna burn 2 or 3 homes,
What is
unless there's a heavy
what is
wind.
the
and
code
you'll
for
burn
fire
more.
well in the county, or is it state mandated?
They don't. So the problem is, you know, the county doesn't adopt the international fire code like a city does. So they can have, you know, they can have all these homes and everything out here without fire, you know, without fire protection. They pay a lot higher rate for insurances because their ISO rating is a lot higher. But they don't, you know, they're not required.
If they buy fire
It's
insurance.
usually the DEQ that actually controls this more than anybody else. That's kind of been a thing that's kind of helped us in the past. Is we've had Journey's End, we've had South Park Estates, you know, we've got the city of Woodville, we've got Greenfield Acres. They're all close enough together that the DEQ won't let them put a septic tank in an individual well where they're all happening to put individual septic tanks in the ground, they all have a community well, which gives us our fire well, and it gives us our hydrants, that we need out there.
See,
Where this
Bonneville
line went out to New Sweden,
Right.
this is kind of the first time that they've even bumped into that, and I think it's the first time the commissioners have. According to the DEQ laws, you've only got to hook up to one connection or the other.
Oh,
if you get
water
one,
or sewer.
yeah. So where they're hooking
So
up
they're
to
under the
sewer,
sewer, they don't worry about water.
they can put all these pinholes in the ground. They're not worried about water, but they haven't noticed that we need water out there. I mean, we had a commissioner that was a fireman before. I was talking with Whitney down there, great things. But back when Whitney was on the fire department running that, he's even admitted that after we've done some talking on that, there was 1 or 2 homes on a 2-mile stretch of road out where he lived down there. They would just run a tender out to the fire and take care of that. They're only losing one structure. Now his own same road that he's telling me about has probably got 40 or 50, homes on
And
it.
no
So
hydrants.
after having a good discussion with him, they're seeing this. DEQ highly recommends. I wish they would just make something that highly recommends, but their comment always says highly recommends, a community well out there. And if they would do that, we could have some fire protection too. How long are you guys going to allow us to? I mean, I know we're working together, but if I come in there and just start grabbing water, and you guys expand somewhere else,
Yeah.
is there going to be a time that you're going to stop me from having water?
I don't think we're ever going to stop fire from having water, but are we going to run into a problem of getting water?
But you built the
Eventually.
infrastructure that the county subdivisions are not going to have to put any kind of effort or money into.
The problem is we're setting ourselves up for a problem which affects us all. It's not just the city, it's the area.
Yeah.
And as we have said a million times, Shelley is more than just the city limits of Shelley.
It is.
Right.
It is.
I mean, it is the Shelley area. And so I think it's fair to say that everything north of definitely Foundry Road, definitely north of Baseline Road is growing. In fact, in doing and reading some things today, we've had, based on your reports that you've given to the fire marshal, 1,013 people move in to this area, in this immediate area, in the last 3 years. So these are problems that we have. I think it's something that the city should do as a whole, is write a letter and have farmers in the area sign on to it, asking the county commissioners if they would sit down and have an open roundtable discussion regarding this. We're not demanding anything. We're not saying limit development. We're not saying change your zoning. Maybe that's the outcome here. I don't know.
But we need to.
But I think we need to have an open and frank discussion about some of these issues. Because I think when people start to realize some of these issues, they will go, oh, you're right. We maybe should have some additional stop gaps that we put in place than just this helter-skelter, because it's just going rampant. And I just don't want to see urban sprawl, and I don't want to see some disasters that could happen as a result of these developments being done there.
Yeah.
So if the city's agreeable to that, I think we're going to put on an action item for the next meeting.
To write a letter to the
Write a letter that we have signed by landowners in the area, all that are willing to sign them, and put it out there and take it to them, and have an open discussion with some of these big landowners, and small owners are welcome too, but I think everybody in the greater northern Beacon County area should sign on to it and come and visit these
So-
issues.
Will you put that on the
So you want me to put that on the agenda in regards to setting up the meeting?
Yeah.
Setting up a letter.
Writing a letter to
Putting
set up a
together
meeting.
that we can send out. The county commissioners know I'm coming in this regard, so it's not like anybody's surprised by any of this. And there's no, I don't want anyone to take away from this that we're trying to push our weight around, or we're trying to expand the city of Shelley. I really just mean this in the best interest of everyone, so that we don't end up with, Thunder Ridge High School with a 24-foot road next to it and a canal, and someone's got to bury that canal and pay for it because the developers that build around it never did.
They did. Agree. And they had to build a roundabout because they couldn't do the traffic, because the traffic study came back and said four-way stop won't work. So they built 2 roundabouts.
Right.
After the fact.
Right.
In the middle of school.
So I want to avoid those problems. So, that's it.
Alright, so do you guys want any comments to send to the county for this, or should we work with?
We're sending you a letter.
No, I think we do
I
address
think
it
all
like
those-
the other ones, like the fire protection,
I think
the
all
roads.
those, I think all those comments are appropriate.
I do too. We have issues
Fire
with fire
protection.
Well, and it all
School
ties back.
egress,
It all ties back to this idea that
roads.
they
School.
say they want to encourage development closer to the cities, but their actions are not reflecting
They
that.
just allow building wherever.
No.
Because they're once again they're following the rule, right? Either hook up to sewer or water. Hooking up to sewer, so they got it covered.
And where this is a public meeting, I'll put this out there. As a city, we have gone the extra mile in creating a subdivision ordinance that allows for this larger lots with less lights, smaller roads with no curb and gutter, more of a country setting, with sewer that's less expensive with the pressurized sewer. The water, we've always said will have to be the same because we accept the international water standards, and we're not going to have different developments of different standards. So that will be an expense, but the lighting and the sewer,
snow removal, garbage,
and the roads are going to be less expensive. And we're doing this so that developers can come in the impact zone and build those kind of developments. And that's what we need to do. Like I said, in Bonneville County, they've created 10-acre lot sizes around the greater Idaho Falls area. People don't like to buy 10 acres, that's too much. And so they know that. And that will force them into developing where there's sewer and water. And that's how they solved it there. Jefferson County went from these 1-acre lots back to 5-acre lots back in 2008 because they saw what happened. Drive up there today and drive around the high school south of it and see the sprawl that goes on there and the traffic problems. Madison County dealt with it back at the turn of the century and never had that problem with their zoning. So it's just, when you get up in the northern part of the county here, it's just different. Down in Blackfoot, I think there's quite a bit of sprawl occurring west of Blackfoot, but I think we just need to have it addressed. And I think the city should do it in a partnership, not in a we demand. We want power. It's nothing to do with that. Nothing at all.
I would just like to have your assistance and your help on that. I think the more we all return with the same thing. I mean,
right.
They do complain a lot. I don't know what happens over there, but they send these to the schools, and they said they never, ever, ever get correspondence.
Well, and we can go help them understand they got to respond to that. I think if
you guys had that in there too, it would.
Well, and I think that's the key. We have the schools come in as well, and everybody.
Get First to come, get Shelley to come, get Blackfoot to come.
Once again, I'm not saying we don't want people to be able to develop their land to the full extent. I don't want to get anybody complaining about that. I just think we need to have a sit-down conversation about development as a whole and how it's developed and what infrastructure. Let's face it, if you're going to develop land, you got to develop the streets next to it.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, did you get that?
So the next one is West River Farms, owned by Brian and Mary Cyril. They want to rezone their property. They have 208 acres, currently zoned as agricultural. They want to rezone it to residential agricultural. to allow for residential single-family development at some point in the future.
So I think the same comments could apply
Okay,
Exactly.
to that.
okay. And then the last one is for an illuminated billboard sign at approximately 1496 North Highway 91 in a heavy commercial zoning district.
It's on the corner of where those storage units and down Jolly's place.
Right.
I don't have any issues with that. I think it's kind of cool.
No comment on that one.
Randy has an issue with it.
Yes, I do.
It's a lie. Hey, make sure you go to the planning
These
and zoning
damn lights
meeting.
that Jeff wants to bring all over down into the county. Now we got a sign that we want to bring out.
Well, Jeff wants these really cool lights that look awesome, but
Us guys that just like our dark
yeah,
peace and
just
quiet.
wanna be quiet.
I know, I'm just joking. I don't
We got no
have,
comment.
I don't have a problem.
Let's burn it today, but I want to.
All right, old council
Wait a
business.
minute, there's another one. Isn't there? I have another one.
Yeah, what's this about the
The
windmill?
windmills.
Oh,
What,
It
there's
was,
a windmill?
it was on it, but I didn't see it on the agenda.
It wasn't on the
oh,
agenda.
it must
but-
have been stuck to something.
So I don't know if we can,
Well, this one isn't really actually, I mean, you know, 'cause they
yeah,
don't vote on it.
that's true. You could still give comment on this. Taylor Mountain, I was looking at this trying to figure out where it was at. Cedar Creek Wind, Taylor Mountain.
2,696 acres.
And it just says that they want, it looked like from the application, they want to reduce the size of some of the windmills, but add more of them.
yeah, they want to add three more.
Three more.
No
But I was trying
comment
to
on
figure
that
out where this was at. This
It's
is
at
So
the
that-
top. It's on the far side of Taylor on that.
Yeah,
side.
it's on that. Yep.
This end. So
On the
east
north-
of here.
So the three
on the
oldest
north
ones,
side.
they want to do what with the three oldest ones? Add to them?
They just want to put. It's right in the center.
Is that the Taylor Creek?
That's the
Yeah.
Taylor.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right at the center of them. They want to add 3 more than what there was proposed, which is 19, but they want to add 22.
And that's in Bonneville County, or is that still
It is.
Bingham County?
Bonneville.
Oh, it is.
Bonneville.
Is it? Why are
This
we?
one has to be Bingham's.
it's
'cause
close
it's
to
from
us.
them.
Oh,
It's
Bingham.
It's Bingham. Yeah, it's in Bingham.
It's in Bingham, it's in
Is
Taylor
it?
Creek. It's
Yeah.
in our fire protection district.
So it's
Yeah.
just, it's
Oh,
right
so
on
it
the
must
line,
be-
the line of
Then it
Bingham.
wouldn't be,
Yeah, it wouldn't be here. If it,
yeah.
It's just north of the Hanson Ranch up there. And there
It's
again,
the
I
Lavar,
don't agree
hey,
with
it's Lavar
windmills.
Grover's property, and when he passed away, they sold it to a wind farm company.
Yep.
So it's just up above Shelley, Firth area, up on the foothills
I
there.
was just trying to figure out how far north it is, because I know it's east of here, but.
is that east of like Country Club up in that area?
No, that would be, it would
No.
be down there
Well, you
next
see their
to.
map? What is Way Drive?
It's above Thompson's.
Yeah, I think, isn't it, is it north of Shirley's? Or is
Yes.
it Shirley's?
Yes.
North of Shirley's.
It's all all the land around it's Taylor Mountain Land Company.
Well, you see this map here, what is Ridgeway Drive, and there's some pretty aspen, is that Taylor? Right there? See
It's
the,
right off Taylor Creek.
see the high density right here in the corner?
Right.
So this would be up,
that
that's along the foothills, so this would just be somewhere up on the hill.
Is that the country club?
Yeah, I know that area, let's see here.
Isn't that the country club?
I don't know. I was trying to find it on my.
Is it where this little thing is, that where it's at?
Do you know where that?
There's another map behind it, but it's a little bit different because it doesn't show that high density. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And they, not this one. This one here.
So that's just up past, is that Ridgeway Drive and all that, is that
One
Is that
right now.
Taylor?
That's right now.
is that part of,
What do they do with that? Just make it.
is that part of the, yeah, 1290 East, that's Park Road, that's all that stuff in the, Green Acres.
I
So it
think
says here, applicants
I
wish to
think it's
increase
just
the
a
number of
little bit
wind
further.
turbines from 19 to 22. There's already been 19 permitted.
So is it back behind?
Yeah.
So it's just
Sorry.
more.
It'd
Yeah,
be
that's-
up above and to the south.
Yep, it's up above and to the south, it's right about on LeVar Grover's property.
That's what the
Either way,
mayor was
It's
saying.
not right
I'm all
on
about
LeVar
that.
Grover's property.
Well, yeah, the substance of it though is they've already been approved for 19. They want to put in some smaller
is
ones
just
and
increasing
add
it to
3 more.
22.
So
I don't have any issues.
I
They
don't
can do
Yeah,
what
there's
they
already
need to do.
stuff up there.
I wish we could, power. Wish we could get cheaper power. We buy it from them. They have to sell it, and we get stuck with it.
I just wonder when those windmills break down, who's gonna haul off all the junk?
And that was the thing, the comments I made to the county commissioners about that. If you require the standards to be removed, the cost of putting the unit in, less what you get from the feds to fund the project, outweighs it and throws the break-even point beyond
That's what
you can
nobody
do. And so
will haul it off.
Nobody.
We're gonna have
if you have to haul
junk
it
piles.
standard, it makes it cost prohibitive.
Mhm.
And that's how you solve it, is just requiring as a county that you remove the base.
They're not getting too late. Barn door.
All right, old council business. North Bingham
you-
County Park, we don't have any new information on that, so. I've not heard back from the county. So council, and reports. BJ.
I don't think I have anything to report tonight.
Nothing.
I'm working on a few things still. The language for the parks development agreement, we should have a call tomorrow with one of AAC's lawyers to try to iron that out. And so we're still moving on that. I think that's it for now.
Okay. Sandy.
Just to let you know, so with the holiday coming up, we're going to be off Thursday and Friday, and we're usually work a half day Friday. There was a couple things we kind of toyed with. One of them was to switch the hours, 8 hours, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like Public Works does. But we really didn't have time to advertise that. So if somebody came in at 5 o'clock, then we couldn't help them because we'd be closed. So anyway, what we're doing is we're working today 9 hours, or yesterday 9 hours, today 9 hours, and we will still close at noon on tomorrow. And I talked to Jeff about that, and that was about the best way to do it, so people knew they was uniform with our hours that we had. In December, we're off on Friday, which is the 24th, or the holiday's on the 25th, so we'll be closed on Friday for the holiday. Did you guys want to close at noon on the 23rd and have our annual little Christmas luncheon for the employees? We didn't last year because of COVID. I just wondered if you wanted to still do that.
Yeah, I think we should.
We should.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll plan on that then.
So that's the 23rd?
The 23rd at noon.
Okay.
No, I don't have anything else for me. Well, actually, the office is going really good. I've got Jasmine on vacation. She won't be back till December 6th, but we're all chipping in and.
I want to bring up the website.
Oh, okay. So, Jeff lifted such a tremendous load off my shoulders. As you know, I've been working trying to get us new email, and it doesn't sound like it would be that hard, but it was. through Gmail, there's no way to contact them, and to try to set it up as a business, evidently I was doing something wrong, but I couldn't make contact to figure out how. So Jeff gave me a lead for man-wearing website solutions that I contacted, and they were perfect. He's always been getting a lot of calls about Cable One. He says, yeah, we'll get you set up. And I says, how much is it? He says, it'll be $6 a user, which I figured it was going to do. And it's still Gmail. I says, okay, we want our own domain. How much for that? He says, $15 a year. And I said, great. So I told him we wanted cityofshelley.org. And I says, now, what are you going to charge me to do all this? He says, less than $100. Yes. So he is working on that. I sent him all the usernames. He'll get that taken care of. And also, Jeff found out that they will upgrade websites. And I discussed that with him after the holidays. We're going to get back and have him look at what we want to do and give us a price for what it would cost to upgrade our website.
I think we need to.
So they'll do
Upgrade
multiple
website.
pages,
Multiple
open,
pages.
very clear.
That's
You
great.
can put your agendas on one. You can put your directories in on another. You have multiple pages.
We can update everything so it's all matches.
Yes.
We have all of our phone numbers up to
And
date.
if you have a problem with it, they'll come in and help you. And otherwise, they just oversee it. I don't know, they're out of Idaho Falls.
Man-wearing website solutions. Really nice to talk to. Good customer service.
Great IT guys
Good.
are always
Good. That's great.
So anyway, we're working toward that, and he said, I've got to have this as soon as possible, the email. He says, no problem, I'll give it to you, so we should have that anytime. And what I've used for everybody is I've just used your whole name, like adamfrench@gmail.com. Kim, yours was a little different because you said you already had, oh, no, sorry, we're gonna have our own domain.
Yeah.
adamfrench@cityofshelley.org, and the same for you, and it's
Right.
just your full name.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's this man wife's first name? No.
I talked to Adam.
Okay, I was just curious.
That was
That's
there.
great to hear, the local place doing good service.
Yeah, that's great.
They do all of
Good.
Ammon's stuff.
Oh, right.
And Ammon's, if you looked at their webpage, it's pretty nice.
And he says he'd come down and meet with us and see what we wanted, what our goal was for our website.
Right.
So I'll contact you when we're gonna set that meeting up.
Okay. You have some stuff from Michael?
Yeah, Michael, he's gone because he had family and they're leaving tomorrow. So he says the junior jazz practices have started and going well. The schools have been great to work with. The jerseys have been ordered and now working on game schedules. The Mayor's Youth Council has decided for their December project to make the wood snowmans again and to hand out. Mayor's Youth Council is ready for the chili cook-off this Friday. He should have 6 to 8 kids there. The pool is finally winterized 100%, and he had a broken heater in the pit area. He wanted to say thank you to the city crew for all your help there last season. And then he said, overall, everything is going well in my department. And in parentheses, he wrote, thank you to the ladies in City Hall for putting up with me. But he gets it back too. I think Corinne or Maureen stuck a sticky on his back that said, kick me today. So and I just kind of tapped him. Then he got home and said, oh no, he went over to Public Works and John seen it, I guess, give him a swift kick and took a picture of his back. So he wrote to Corinne, haha, you're funny. So he gets it back to him. But everybody's getting along wonderfully in there. Everything is going good.
That is going awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, I'd say.
Okay, Justin.
On the park subdivision, they are out there paving. Okay, so last week we went through and cambered all the sewer lines. Everything looks good. They did have a couple cones that they had to replace from getting too hard and broke the top of the cones off. Curb and gutter went in last Thursday and Friday, and they started asphalt today, and they were hoping to be done by tonight. So if you go out there, they've got like
They got the
whole place
lights on.
lit
They
up.
were doing it last night too.
Right. So they was out there till
Keeping
10
Randy
o'clock
awake.
last night doing great work. So
Pointed right at your house.
It's pretty cold tonight. Keep doing that.
it is. So anyways, that's where they're at with that. The trail, we got grass seed and the fertilizer starter showed up last Thursday. Next week the weather's supposed to be like in the high 40s, so we're gonna get it seeded. Yeah, we'll get it seeded next week and kind of be done with that project. We still have a few sprinklers to work on, but that'll take place next spring. So get that seed established this winter. The hawk light, I'm not sure what happened, but the first month and a half it's been broken. They never did send the part. And so I revisited with them a week and a half ago. Their engineer kind of dropped the ball. We thought it was sent. He forgot to send it. So we've got a new part coming as of about a week and a half ago. So I'm hoping it shows up anytime. So,
good.
They're going to warranty it again, which they should, right? This is like the third clock in 4 years. So it's going to be warranted. We're going to send the old one back. They want to tear it apart, see what keeps breaking on it or what's going on with it. So, the Christmas lights are up. We'll be ready for the chili cook-off on Friday. So, the park bench. So, Corey Johnson came in. If you remember her, she came in about 2 months ago. Talked about the park bench for Ethan Johnson, the boy that got in the accident out there. We got the pad built, the bench put up, and the plaque put up about 3 weeks ago. So if you go past Brinkman Park,
It looks good.
it turned out nice. She, I met with her and her boy out there, and she really wanted it. Ethan really liked the sunset, and so she really wanted it. So when you sit on the bench, you can see the sunset. So it's over there to be on the southeast corner of that park, and we kind of centered it between 2 trees, and so it turned out really nice. They did a good job.
Okay.
You know, Justin, there's that. It was cute when they had it, the Curtis Brinkman side on a skateboard. That sign's really,
Leading.
yeah, So it might be time just to pull it.
You can either pull it, or I was just gonna straighten it next spring, whatever, but I mean, we can.
We'll look at the condition of it, because I think actually the condition of the siding is not very good, but
Okay.
I'll let you
Okay.
use your judgment.
But anyways, it was a fun evening. I met her over there at 5 o'clock. Her and her ex-husband and her 2 boys, they were all there. We took pictures. They had a nice little ceremony. So it was nice. It was a good little deal. So, and then Austin, I don't know if I told you guys this, or some of you might know. Austin got his finger pinched in the sweeper about 3 weeks ago. He may end up losing part of that finger because it got cut right down to the tip, like right behind the nail and the first knuckle, like it pinched it pretty good right there. So he worked for the next week. He took a few days off. He come back for a day or two, and then he'll be off now for about another week to a week and a half. He went into the doctor today. They told him he's overdoing it. He needs to settle down a little bit. So I think he goes in next Thursday for another checkup to see where things are at. So, just for a heads up for everybody. So, other than that, we're trying to make that transition. I've got another week or 2 of outside work to do if the weather stays nice, and get snow plows on trucks and kind of get stuff ready to go for the winter season. So things are going good. Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Justin. Chief?
Not a whole lot. We just finished up today on the rest of the interviews for my 2 positions. I'm in hopes to have an answer by the end of the week, so I will definitely have 2 names for you by next council meeting for certain, so we can get them hired and get them going. Other than that, everything's just kind of business as usual right now. So that's all I got. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chief. Jeff?
How are we doing with the sewer sign-ups?
Oh, dude. I gotta go get more of them, but yes.
Okay, if
I left
we
them sitting.
just get them this weekend, and I will call you next Sunday and pick them up.
Okay.
I gotta turn them in before the 4th is drop dead. They have to go to court.
Right.
So they gotta be certified, so we need to get them ASAP. So if you can help in that regard, I would appreciate it. In addition to that, we've got some people in the city that have firecrackers that we need to go out and chase. The Judy's lady that lives out there by the David, what's her names?
Patty, Judy.
Yeah. And we've got Rocky Mountain Power, and we've got a couple other ones here that we need to center in on and get done.
Do we know who to contact at Rocky Mountain Power?
I'm hoping that I can talk to the regional director. He's there, right?
Yeah, I can get you his number.
I just need his number so I can get there. Okay. So I've got those, and now those are the 5-acre ones, and then I think that pretty well settles us on all that. If we just get these other ones, then we should have. If we can have 300, that will give us above and beyond what we need, and hopefully we can get that in and have that all set. So.
How many you have so far?
I have 50. I need 12 more. I was thinking 62. So if you guys could just get.
If we just go Tidal Falls on Black Friday, I'm sure we could run into a lot of people.
Go down to Brolin's at 5 o'clock and just
Seriously.
ask them if they live in the city or
That's
not.
a good idea too.
Now you're gonna get a 50-50 mix.
Yeah,
Half a bird,
make
half a
sure
Shelley.
They haven't signed somewhere else.
Yeah.
Make sure that they own the property. It's not some trust, and that the husband and wife doesn't have to be both. It only has to be one.
That's what I thought. For the ones I've gotten, that's what.
Because if you have 2,
Yep. Right,
cancel one out.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Got it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Clay?
I don't have anything other than the question for Chief. When you and me talked the other day, did they get those moved over at East Idaho?
Yes.
Okay. And that's just something that going forward, I don't know whether it's a streets thing, a cop thing, or whose thing, but East Idaho, I pulled out of Brolin's, and I hadn't been there all week, but I pulled out of Brolin's on Friday, or whatever, yeah, Friday or Saturday, Friday, And I'm like, I can't see down the road. And then I about got hit when I pulled out because
The
somebody
trailers
was
are there.
behind because they parked their 2 construction trailers
They're
right
still
on the
there.
road.
They're
Oh, I
still there.
went there today and I couldn't see
Yep.
around them either.
They've got to park them in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So they must have moved them back because it's work week, right?
Yeah,
But
I was just say
those kind of things. And I noticed when I pulled up here, I don't know if they're working at night or not, but the one for the new bank that's going into US Bank, their truck and trailers parked on the road, right there, down there away from the stop sign, and it's a
That's
little
not a
bit
new bank.
different. Yeah, Idaho.
They can't. There was a contract. Jed Young bought that.
Jed bought it.
For a,
Well, it's not.
It's a
The
wedding venue.
company that owns it is on the list on the county says it's the Idaho something bank. Maybe they own it, and he's just.
Idaho Bank still is
It's
listed
not-
on it,
yeah.
but Jed's wife bought it.
They're gonna do a wedding venue.
Also, just on a quick note on that, Jasmine got a call the other day from ICCU about submitting plans.
No way.
Awesome. They're
And
gonna go faster than I thought.
a question about the property out there's bigger than what they want and possibly could they divide it off. So anyway, they'll call and get more information when they get closer in contact.
Yeah.
Cool. A little faster than they thought.
Yeah, because they were thinking 2-3 years, right?
Yeah, they were thinking end of 2022.
Right. Okay.
I know the space over there is really tight for the East Idaho, but even between like Family Dollar and there, I think they could pull a truck trailer on the grass
Well,
or
they got the
something.
whole parking lot out in front of the dance studio. They can park their trailers and they.
Are you
Well,
kidding?
as
No,
soon
when
as
there's
they get-
dance.
They're gonna get asphalt this weekend, so as soon as they get asphalt, they'll move all the stuff in front of the building.
No, but I agree with it's really dangerous.
I will.
It is.
Because I send my new driver all the time to Rollins to pick up stuff, so I don't have to go. And I was like, oh my gosh, if he tries to pull out there, he might get hurt. So.
Yeah, because Friday when we sent guys out there, they moved them right then and there. And where it was gonna get in touch with Brolins, they were just gonna try and just block that entrance off. They could have all of their stuff there, because you can still utilize the entrance there.
On the other side.
Yeah, on the other
absolutely.
side, so that would be a really smart option.
Yeah, until they're done.
Yeah.
I don't know if they are, they said they were gonna get with Roland and see if they will out.
Yeah, they will or we will get enough calls on it, but it's still better than
Now they'll
getting
have
run
their
over by
parking
a
lot.
truck.
They'll have their parking lot done here in the next couple of days, and they'll be parking.
That'd be good.
It's good.
Okay. Anything else, like?
Well,
Kim?
I don't have anything tonight.
Right on. Mayor, do you have anything?
I do not. I appreciate everyone, and everyone have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
All right. I agree. I don't have anything either. So call this meeting adjourned.
And I'm looking for a clock that's right. 59.
Yeah, no kidding. It wasn't 17 minutes, but we got it done fast.